welcome back. I haven't recorded a video in quite a long time, but here we are. I recently went to a local record sale, and it's I guess before the Exodus UHQR, it was the first set of records I've purchased in nearly a year. Just been very busy, haven't really had time to purchase new records or really even listen to my turntable, but I went to check out this record show. It's usually here in Winnipeg. There's only a couple per year. In my experience, they do have some decent stuff, and I was able to grab some great finds, some duplicates of stuff that I already have, and some stuff I didn't have. So I'm excited to dive in to show you. So without further ado, here we go. Now, first up on the list, the Allman Brothers Band, Brothers and Sisters. Now this is in original Canadian press, in Capricorn Records. Okay, first off, the Allman Brothers Band, Brothers and Sisters. Now this is a New Zealand pressing. No particular reason that I picked this version up. It's just a record I didn't have, and it was about $10, so felt I couldn't go wrong with that. It's on that Warner Brothers Palm Tree label, so I believe it's a first New Zealand pressing from what I could see. I haven't listened to it yet, I haven't given it a clean yet, but it's such a great record. Obviously the first Allman Brothers record without Duane Allman, so such a great album, classic rock, southern rock. Love this record. Next up, something I didn't expect to see at this record show. Yes, Pink Floyd, Atom Heart Mother. Not just any Atom Heart Mother, a second or third UK pressing. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It is very clean. The matrix numbers on here are A2G and B3, so it's about a third or fourth UK press. It's only $20, believe it or not. And I know the first UK press, as with everything with Pink Floyd, goes for big money, so I was happy to get something like this. It's cut from the original tapes on that Harvest EMI Harvest label for a really good price. Next up is Highway by Free. Now, Free, obviously most famous for their song All Right Now, off the previous album Fire and Water. This contains one of my favorite Free songs, which is On My Way. I think it just has such a cool groove and melody to it. This is on the red Polydor label, an original Canadian pressing, super clean. Happy to add it to my collection. Now, next up, one of my favorite records of all time, from one of my favorite bands of all time, pioneers of progressive rock, precursor to Rush, went about, released music the same time as Genesis, the Moody Blues, a little bit after the Moody Blues perhaps, but the Yes album by Yes. Now, Starship Trooper, I've Seen All Good People, such incredible songs on this album. I believe this is a second Canadian pressing because it has the green and orange Atlantic label and not the original red Atlantic label in Canada before 1970. Atlantic used a solid red label with black text, and then in 1970 they switched over to the green and orange, which they used in the United States as well. Those red label pressings are very sought after, sound very good, but this sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's cut very hot, very loud, such a great record to listen to. And I'll show you in a sec what I mean by the red label, but yeah, one of my favorite bands ever. one of my favorite records by this band, others being Fragile, Close to the Edge, Yes Songs, Yesterdays. Awesome stuff. Although I have the RL, although I have original Canadian, the John Davis, the UK Plum, several copies of their first album, I never had this album until now on vinyl. And up until the last few months, it's something I really never even listened to very often. And that is Led Zeppelin 3. Now, this is on the aforementioned Atlantic Red label. These are very highly regarded, right next to the UK Plum. This is a CBC radio copy. So for those who aren't aware, the CBC is our national broadcaster, sort of like the BBC in the UK, kind of like the PBS in the United States, although CBC is government funded, not funded by donations, although I'm sure you can donate. And yeah, R111, I tried Googling this to see what station that was ID'd to, but nothing came up. But I assume this is probably as close as you could get to a promo copy here in Canada. I'm not sure if they ever did white label promos, but this would have been a very early copy. And by that, that Atlantic Red label, it would have been before the switch over to the green and orange Atlantic label. Interestingly enough, there's no dates on the label, but it does have the super hype music credit. And just a small Warner Brothers Records of Canada, no WEA, and no Warner Communications. So an earlier pressing of this album. There is a little bit of noise on the lead-ins and on the quiet passages in between tracks, like Gallows Pole and Tangerine, stuff like that. The cover, not perfect. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but there is a substantial rip here that I did glue that just to fix it, but the wheel still works. For those who aren't aware, the Led Zeppelin 3 came with, it's hard to kind of do this. Led Zeppelin 3 came with this sort of spinning wheels. Oh man, is that hard to do with this hand. This spinning wheel here, so different images display. Each turn of the wheel, it's like a kaleidoscope almost. It has all the band members, obviously John Bonham, you rotated enough, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, John Paul Jones. Hard to find with the working wheel, and the cover, I'd say maybe it's a good grade, but the record sounds nice. I'll have to give it a spin in an ultrasonic to see if that further cleans up some of the noise. But I'm happy to add this to my collection finally, and I would like to plan a trip to the UK, find more UK pressings, because they're just a fortune here with shipping and everything. So I'd like to find a UK plum of this as well. Next up, another UK band, one of my favorites from the first wave of British invasion, The Who. Now this is a twofer of a quick one and The Who Sell Out. This is on the Black Track Records label, a 1974 pressing. So these are both represses of this album. They're not the original copies. The quick one originally came out in 1966, and The Who Sell Out came out in 1967. So this is quite a few years after, but still a really awesome record. I had to pick it up just because I'm collecting more UK pressings, and I thought this would be a very cool addition. Once again, from The Who, Tommy. Now I have an original Rainbow Decca label pressing of this, but I found it on the UK Black Track label. This record absolutely cooks. Sounds incredible. This is the second UK pressing. It's a little bit hard to tell with this on, but the first UK pressings had a laminated cover, and they came with a numbered booklet. This does not have the laminated cover. It does have a booklet, but it isn't numbered as far as I could tell, so it is a second or third UK press. I highly recommend this version over the original UK press because they did use quieter vinyl on the second UK press. Now, if you do have the classic records pressing or the newest half-speed remaster, let me know how that sounds in comparison if you've compared it to the original UK. But this is really awesome. I like it than the original Decca. It's not cut as loud, but it sounds much more lively, and Pete Townshend's guitar sounds like freshly strung. It's really, really good. Next up, run-of-the-mill pressing of Bruce Springsteen's The River, his only double album, featuring one of my favorite Bruce Springsteen songs, Hungry Heart. The boss, man. I'm going to be seeing him on tour when he comes here, and his astronomical ticket prices, but he's never been to my city before, so I'm excited to see him live. Last but not least, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. It is a UK pressing. Not the solid triangle, those are ridiculously expensive, but a second or third UK press. The maybe even fourth. The matrices are A4, B3. So still a pretty early press, A4, B3. Might even be a second pressing, because the first pressing, there was no A1, B1 of this album. I believe it was A2, B2 was the first pressing. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of noise on the quieter passages, but this is where the money is as far as I'm concerned. If you can get an A2, B3, or A3, B3, or A3, B4, any of those early copies that aren't the solid blue triangle, that's where you're going to find the value in UK pressings of Dark Side of the Moon, because any of the solid blue triangles through the roof astronomically, and even the Kevin Gray cut from 2003 is very expensive. This came with the poster as well, the original poster. Really excited to find this for a great price, and happy to add it to my collection. It is absolutely killer sounding, and what a way to kick out the 50th anniversary. Now, thank you for joining me. I know it's been a long time. I'm trying to make more content as school is ending to get more stuff out there, and thank you for watching. Let me know if you have these records, what you think of, if you have them, what you think of the sound of them, and I will see you soon. Thank you.